I observed her on those two directly on the two occasions that I evaluated her. I reviewed her full medical chart with
Got it.
24/7 nursing observations and all the notes from all the medical professionals.
Okay. And the first date that you saw her was when?
August 28th,
Okay.
2024.
Is it your opinion that her mental illness or schizophrenia was active at that time?
Yes.
Did you have the occasion to watch any video of Miss Ellis at her arraignment for her legal proceedings?
Yes, I saw that.
And the observations that you made when you first met her in person and what you saw in those videos, is that consistent with your observations at North Coast?
Yes, her presentation in the arraignments is similar to her presentation at North Coast with the disengaging, leaning down, the bizarre affect. That is all consistent.
Would you recognize that video if I showed it to you?
Yes,
And can I ask you some questions about that video?
yes.
Identified with the marked as Exhibit E for the record. Thank you. Is there audio on this one? We're going to also play Defense Exhibit C. I believe that one has audio. And if it doesn't, we'll go to a small mini laptop.
You go to the right on the bottom.
Mm.
It was muted at the time, so now it'll.
Dr. Testa, to the ordinary person, she looks like she's laughing
Correct.
while the judge is identifying the most serious of charges. Is there an explanation for that?
Well, as a psychiatrist looking at that, that behavior does not fit the setting. That does not fit the occasion. It's what we would call an incongruent affect or an incongruent emotional expression. The behavior is just not appropriate for the setting. She also looks to the side at points or looks up. That could indicate that she's perceiving something that none of us can perceive, that is in fact funny or is in fact amusing, but we cannot perceive that. That's another explanation for that behavior. What I can say is that that is the behavior that we observed at North Coast while she was off medications. When she got onto medications, that behavior stopped.
Does she have the ability to control her actions if her illness is active?
One can control their actions.
How?
It's a broad question, but people with schizophrenia, they don't lose the ability to do like simple things. So it would really depend. It's a very broad question, but just having schizophrenia doesn't eliminate all your ability to control your actions.
Could she have stopped what she was doing there if her illness is that?
That symptom is not controllable. So if that indeed is a symptom of schizophrenia, that affective inappropriateness, that is not controllable.
All right. I'm going to take one moment to confer with Mr. Johnson, if I may, Your Honor. You may. When her illness has been active over these many years, does she have a tendency to act violent?
There is described in the medical records periods of time when she is off her medications that she is aggressive. So there is description of that in the Metro Health record from her ED visit. There is also description of that in the North Coast records. Prior to stabilizing on medications, she was aggressive on several occasions, requiring like an emergency dose of medications. And she was involved in 3 separate acts of aggression against others before she stabilized on medications.
And when she stabilized on medications, is there any documented behavior of aggression or violence?
At North Coast, which is the extended period of records that I was able to review for her, once she stabilized on the clozapine, or once she began to stabilize on the clozapine, there were no further assaultive behavior, no further aggression in that North Coast hospitalization.
All right, Ms. Brownlee, cross-examination.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Dr. Testa.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am, you have not only worked at North Coast Behavioral, but were you not also part of the Court Psychiatric Clinic here in Cuyahoga County?
I worked here during my fellowship training. So I did do evaluations here from 2010 to 2011.
And at that time, who was the head of your department?
Dr. Phil Resnick.
And you worked under Dr. Phil Resnick, and you studied under Dr. Phil Resnick.
That's correct.
All right. Mr. Mack asked you several questions with regards to competency.
Yes,
And that is the only thing that you were asked to do in this case.
that's correct.
And you did it as kind of an adjunct at North Coast because though you are employed by them, you also see other patients.
Well, my employment at North Coast is part-time.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So I'm a part-time, I go there about once a week as a part-time employee.
All right. So you're not there full-time.
No, no.
All right. So when you rely on those 20-day stays in order for you to make your determination, you are relying on the other folks that are doing the actual observations.
So I would do my own mental status evaluation and a chart review. I would only be doing the evaluation, not the treatment.
Okay. So if we start with Defense Exhibit I
Yes,
that you've authored and testified to, you indicate here, do you not, that you also reviewed Dr. Hatters-Friedman's information?
correct. Yes.
All right. And can you tell me what you learned from that information?
Yes, like describe, do you want me to describe her opinion?
Yes. And what
Yes.
page were you on? Let's
I'm
start with your
gonna
page.
find it right now. I think it's on page 8.
All right. And with regards to Dr. Hatters-Friedman, where was that evaluation done?
Dr. Hatters-Friedman evaluated Miss Ellis at the Cuyahoga County Court Psychiatric Clinic.
Okay. And what were her interactions with her?
So she interviewed Miss Ellis on July 30th, 2024. She was court appointed and independent.
Okay? And so what were her observations with regards to Miss Ellis?
When she saw Miss Ellis was poorly cooperative throughout the evaluation. She presented as irritable. She said that she thrust forward her psychotic ideas. So that's when you throw them out there,
Okay?
lack of a better word.
Go ahead.
She observed that she tried to ask the competency questions to Miss Ellis, and she made the statement, "I'm coherent."
I'm sorry, what did she say?
She said, I'm incoherent."
Incoherent.
Incoherent.
Okay, go ahead. And those were the words of Miss Ellis.
These are the words that Dr. Hatters-Friedman reported that Miss Ellis said.
Correct. Go ahead.
Yes. To her.
And what else did she say?
She told Dr. Hatters-Friedman that she needed to find an investigator and start an investigation.
All right. And then with regards to Dr. Hatters-Friedman making a determination as to competency at that particular time, was she able to?
She was not.
And why not?
She deferred to provide a diagnosis. So Dr. Hatters-Friedman noted in her report that she had insufficient information to make a diagnosis with a reasonable degree of medical certainty. So she could not opine whether or not she had a mental illness at that time. She didn't have enough information to make that decision.
Okay. And what were her observations of Miss Ellis's behavior at the time?
She noted that per jail records, she had been able to maintain some behavioral control despite refusing medications. She noted that she could not answer some simple questions, which was atypical. That means it's not a usual thing that we would see. She noted that for Miss Ellis to say she was incoherent, that was unusual. And Dr. Hatters-Friedman's words were, she could not determine if Miss Ellis's behavior during the time she saw her in the court clinic was behavioral or related to a mental illness. She could not make a decision.
Okay. So therefore, she was sent then to North Coast.
Yes.
So explain to us, to ladies and gentlemen of the jury, when they first come to North Coast, where are they placed and what kind of observation units are they in?
When Miss Ellis came to North Coast, this is typical of individuals who are coming in for competency evaluation. She is placed on what's called a competency restoration unit. It's a psychiatric unit. It is staffed with the typical types of professionals that you would see on a psychiatric unit, and it also has forensic experts as well. So she was placed on a unit with nursing staff, behavioral health staff, psychiatrists, medical doctors, and forensic evaluators that would monitor her 24/7. They'll document her behavior in the medical chart on a 24/7 basis.
And doctor, does the patient know that they are being monitored 24/7?
Yes.
And are they in their own isolated rooms or do they have their own isolated rooms? Excuse me. And is there also a common area where peers meet and there's conversation and stuff of that sort?
Yes, that's exactly how it is. They will have rooms and then there will be common areas as well.
And do they have access to the outside public?
People for 20-day evaluations would not have those types of privileges. Those come with levels.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Mack asked you a series of questions about all the medical and psychiatric care that she's had in the past.
Yes.
And there were several hospitalizations that you indicated that she was hospitalized for psychiatric treatment for failing to take meds.
That's
Is that fair?
correct. That's correct.
All right. Now, I just want to turn your attention to page 6, which all the way down at the bottom of the page is the second paragraph up, talking about the Metro Hospital ED that we've spoken about in this case. Can you tell us why she went there and what were their observations of her?
She went there after falling off a bus, and they addressed her leg pain. They noted that she was cooperative with the treatment of her leg pain. They did not notice anything abnormal about her emotional expression, and they noted that she made eye contact with them.
Doctor, what ED for the jury?
Emergency department.
And that was at Metro Hospital.
Yes,
All right. And that was on May 26th of 2024.
that's correct.
All right. So because she has this diagnosis, it follows her where she goes, correct?
That's correct.
And so back on May 26th of 2024, it appears that normal affect and good eye contact.
That's what's documented, yes.
All right. Now, there comes a point in time where she's at North Coast,
Yes,
and the doctor, based on his evaluation of her, wants to prescribe medications, right?
yes.
And she refuses. I believe it's Dr. Baskin who is the prescriber of the medication.
Dr. Baskin was prescribing medication in the jail. Dr. Vanderkar was prescribing medication at North Coast.
Thank you. Then
Yes.
Let's go to your report, Defense Exhibit I, page 17.
17, yes.
Okay. And at that point, on June 6th, Dr. Baskin diagnosed her with schizoaffective disorder and prescribed Haldol. Correct?
That's correct. He wrote a prescription for it, yes.
All right. Miss Ellis, refused to take the medication.
Yes,
Okay. Is that a volitional act, refusing to take medication?
it's a choice, yes,
So it's a choice that someone makes.
correct.
Now, during the time, Dr. Testa, that you met her the very first time,
Yes.
what was the setting?
North Coast Behavioral Health Care. I met her on the inpatient unit in a conference room.
And are there pleasantries that are exchanged? And do you tell her why you're there?
Always. I would always tell her why I'm there, what my purpose is, what I do and do not do, and that it's non-confidential.
And when you were doing that, what were your observations of Miss Ellis? Was she paying attention to you?
She was making eye contact at that time during the initial part of the interview.
Okay, so during the initial part, when you're kind of laying the ground rules, the foundation, you're going to be asking questions, fair? She's paying attention to you. She's making eye contact.
Yes.
Did you ask any questions during that particular period of time?
I asked her whether she understood what I had told her.
Okay, and did she understand?
Initially, her responses were bizarre. I was not satisfied that she understood. So I went back through the statements again to ensure that she was paying attention, and she indicated that she understood.
Okay, all right. So she had, I believe you told Mr. Mack, very unusual affect.
Affect, yes,
Affect.
yes.
Okay, all right. So when she is giving you these unusual things or saying these unusual things, do you question her about those things and how they apply or don't apply?
If I will redirect. So if I'm asking her, where she was born, and she starts to talk about Jesus or the FBI, I will redirect. I will ask her again where she was born. Sometimes you can get an individual on track in conversation in that way. Sometimes, if the psychosis is as heavy, they will continue to talk about those things. During the competency part, I will ask how that's related to the charges. Sometimes you can pull people back. Sometimes they will continue on the psychotic thought process.
But just because they pull back doesn't mean they don't understand the question you're asking.
That's fair. It could be that they don't understand and they don't want to answer, or it could be that they're unable to.
Unable to, or they choose not to.
It could be either or.
So a person can have psychosis. No one is disputing that someone has schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder. But just because a person has those mental illnesses, that does not equate with not understanding or not appreciating something, correct?
That's correct. It's not a definite.
Now, when you made your diagnostic impressions back in September
Yes,
3rd of 2024, you make some unspecified diagnoses, ma'am, correct?
that's correct.
All right. And so can you tell me those unspecified diagnoses that you make?
I made the psychiatric diagnoses of unspecified schizophrenia spectrum and other psychotic disorder. That diagnosis, it referred to her history of delusional and disorganized thinking, auditory hallucinations, and mood disturbances with insomnia, suicidal thoughts, acts of cutting, and I could not tell whether this was schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder.
And ma'am, is it fair to say that that diagnosis is made based on corroborating evidence that you had evaluated? You had evaluated medical records, you had done your own interview. That was based on corroborating evidence.
That's correct.
And then your other unspecified diagnosis was?
Unspecified cannabis-related disorder.
All right. And how did you come to that conclusion?
That diagnosis was given because there was demonstrated a history of cannabis use in the medical records. It appeared to have been a potential clinical issue for her, but the details of it were not there. It wasn't enough detail in the records to say whether it fit into a cannabis use disorder diagnosis.
But again, based on all the documents you had reviewed, corroboration that would bring you or lead you to that potential diagnosis.
Correct. That was from the records.
And then back on September 3rd, your final was that she was incompetent but restorable.
Correct.
Okay. And so then we're going to move right along to I believe it's dated February 1st, which is Defense Exhibit H.
That's correct.
All right. So in Defense Exhibit H, you also provide the same information that you had initially relied upon. All those records, they're all the same. They don't change.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, the historical information did not change.
And so then, but now it's a little bit different because she has been afforded medications,
Correct.
and now she's at a different level
Correct.
of understanding
Yes.
and cooperating.
Correct. Correct.
Now, on page 4 of your report, I believe you had a conversation with Miss Ellis about her own psychiatric history at the very bottom.
Yes.
And what does she tell you during that interview?
She told me that she had been a client of Murtis Taylor, and she said that she was treated at the agency for schizoaffective disorder. She said that she described her illness as manifesting with illogical thinking and mood swings.
All right. And so did she know what Murtis Taylor was?
Yes.
And that she had attended Murtis Taylor?
Yes.
So she's able to tell you where she was seeking her medical care,
Yes.
or psychiatric care, I should say, to be
Yes.
clear. So let's go on to page 5 here. I believe you and Mr. Mack talked about January of 2015 when she went to, I believe that one was, it's a little confusing here. It says January 2015 through October 2023. The reports were summarized for you with regards to the emergency department at Lutheran and then Fairview Hospital. And then I would like to talk about in January of 2015, Miss Ellis's case manager took her to the emergency department at Lutheran Hospital.
That's correct.
All right. So if we just go back to, well, I guess in January of 2015, why did her manager take her to the emergency department?
Her case manager took her to the emergency department because she had not slept for 5 days. She was hearing voices and she was seeing visions. So the case manager brought her in seeking help for her.
Okay. And what happened?
She sneaked out of the ED on that day. She did not end up being evaluated. She was able to elope from that emergency department.
Okay. And then in December of that year, Miss Ellis went back to the Lutheran Emergency Department. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, she was there for treatment of a wound. There's no description of her mental health state at that day. They didn't discuss it.
Okay. On February 2016, did she again go to the Lutheran ED?
Yes.
And why did she go there?
She went there with the physical health complaints. She said she was feeling faint and dizzy. She was taking medications at that time. She was taking an antipsychotic medication, Seroquel, that was noted in the medical record. She was cooperative with care and had a workup for medical issues on that day. She was noted to have normal behavior and was able to be discharged from the emergency room.
Okay. And so, and we go through the whole history from 2015 to 2024.
Yes.
Right? And so you've got inpatient psychiatric treatment and outpatient psychiatric treatment. Is that fair?
That's correct.
All right. So not every time that she went to an emergency department was it for psychiatric issues.
That's correct.
Now, turning to page 7 of your report, ma'am,
Yes.
you review the records from the Cuyahoga County Jail, the medical treatment that she was receiving there.
Yes.
Paragraph number 4, her interactions with Dr. Baskin. And
Yeah.
what were his observations of her?
He described her as initially being limited in her willingness to engage with him. He said that she spoke to him in a curt manner. She conveyed annoyance with him. He described her as bizarre in many of her answers, disjointed, and paranoid. That was on June 6th, 2024. He diagnosed her with schizoaffective disorder. He prescribed Haldol and Cogentin, but she refused to take the medication. He then did a series of follow-up visits. He saw her on June 14th, July 5th, July 26th, and August 21st. He described her as standoffish, guarded, irritable, eccentric, and he continued those prescriptions, but she declined to take them.
And why didn't she take them?
He said that she didn't give a reason, but what his exact words were was she declined to take them without discernible reasons, apart from believing she did not require them.
All right. So, Dr. Testa, you had all this corroborating evidence during the first interview of Miss Bionca Ellis and then the second interview of Bionca Ellis when you deemed her to be competent to stand trial.
That's correct.
All right. Now, Mr. Mack just touched upon it, but let's talk about it a little bit. Because, ma'am, you are a forensic scientist,
Yes.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Forensic psychiatrist, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
And being one, you also sometimes have the opportunity to evaluate folks for insanity.
That's correct.
And insanity is a legal definition. Would you agree with me?
That's correct. Yes.
All right. And so, ma'am, you started talking with Mr. Mack with regards to what are the method and mode of providing a insanity evaluation? What kinds of things do you look at?
So what you would look at, what your role would be to provide an opinion about the person's mental state at the time of the offense. So a person would do an evaluation and a diagnostic evaluation, but their main focus would not be on the day you're seeing the person. Your main focus would be to review records. You would get a lot of records from police. You would get records from any outside sources. You would review witness reports describing the person's behavior on the day of the offense. And you would review all of that. You would also do a very detailed interview with the defendant themselves. You would ask them a lot of questions about the event. What happened? Why did you do what you did? Were you taking meds at the time? You would get a history of how the preceding days leading up to the crime went. You'd get that history in great detail, and you would learn all of that from the defendant themselves. And you would have to put all that information together and synthesize all that to form an opinion.
And ma'am, is it fair to say that self-reporting is not enough?
Self-reporting is not enough. You would get their self-report. You would need that self-report because only that person knows certain things. But you have to look at a lot of extraneous information as well, contemporaneous information. You would want to know, look at the witness reports and look at observations from others.
And doctor, when you're assessing, you consider the symptoms of the severe mental disease or defect, correct?
That's correct.
the knowledge of the wrongfulness of the offense,
That's correct.
and then there would be a causal link between the symptoms and any unimpaired knowledge of the wrongfulness of the act
That's correct.
or offense.
Yes.
And then the motive for the offense, would that be considered?
We do consider that because that tells us the why, and that tells us if it's related to their mental illness and if they know it's wrong. So that's a key to look at as well, whether it's rational or irrational.
So you'd look at the rational or irrational component.
That's
Correct?
correct. Yes.
But you didn't do it in this case.
I did not do any of that.
No. We're just talking in generalities of what a forensic scientist does.
Correct.
All right. And so you can be psychotic, yet still know the wrongfulness of your actions,
Of course.
but you can also be psychotic and not know the wrongfulness of your actions.
Absolutely.
All right. Doctor, does mental illness equate with legal insanity?
It-
Yeah, we could. Thank you. And then anything further across? I asked if anything further in cross.
Yes, sir.
Well, you're direct. Give me 1 second.
I'm not done yet.
I asked, you have anything?
Oh,
further?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. I was listening to two people one time. I'm sorry.
So you can continue. to
Yes,
ask,
I
but that
withdraw-
question will withdraw.
I'm withdrawing that question.
Thank you.
Okay. I have one, I believe one more question, but I just want to.
Yes, ma'am.
Doctor, I just have one more. And if
Yes.
I misquote this, because I was trying to pay attention to Mr. Mack when he was asking you, but I believe you testified that when a person has psychosis, they still can follow directions.
Yes. Yeah, psychosis does not make a person unable to follow a simple command, was what I
Okay.
had said.
And they can have conversations?
Yes, yes. It does not preclude them from having a conversation.
So doctor, would you agree with me that a person in psychosis, then can they control their actions?
They may be able to. Psychosis also does not negate a person's ability to control their actions. It's a very broad question. People with psychosis could be able to do that.
Thank you very much for answering my questions, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you. Any redirect?
Doctor, psychosis, insanity, same thing?
I'm hesitant because it was objected to before. Go ahead with it. Psychosis is a medical term,
Thank you.
and insanity is a legally defined term.
Thank you.
Okay. You recall that Ms. Faralia had you go, I believe it was page 6 of Defendant's Exhibit I, your September 2024 report. And
Yes,
there was some mention of the May 26th, 24th interaction with one of the doctors regarding normal eye contact. You recall
Correct.
that? Did you learn that 3 days later, May 29th of 24, that Ms. Ellis was jailed in the North Olmsted?
yes,
Okay. And would it surprise you to know that a corrections officer identified her appearance and mental health status as, the question was, is the inmate's conduct, appearance, and mental health status normal? And the answer was no. Would that surprise you?
it doesn't surprise me.
Okay. Again, just make sure the jurors have it. Why is it such a high rate of noncompliance with medication for this population?
Individuals with schizophrenia often have what's called a lack of insight into their illness. So the symptoms that individuals feel and perceive feel very real. They often don't agree with their diagnosis, and so they will make a choice not to take medications because they don't believe they have the illness. So it, just like if you or I, if someone told me to take medications for diabetes and I did not have diabetes, I would decline that medication. Is it a voluntary decline? Of course, but if my mind's not in reality, I can voluntarily decline. It's really not a good choice. I wouldn't have had the capacity to truly consider that and make a good decision for myself.
Do you have any reason to believe that Ms. Ellis was not a mentally ill schizophrenic prior to June 3rd of 2024?
No, the records disprove that. She was ill for years before.
Okay. Is there any reason to believe that she was not ill during the month of June of 2024?
No, I would not believe that. She was not taking medications, and there